Have you ever wondered what makes you, well, what gives you the power to run, jump, think, and even just breathe? The answer is energy. Bioenergetics is the awesome science of how energy flows through living things. It's not magic, it's science. Every single living organism, from the tiniest bacterium to the biggest blue whale, needs energy to survive. It's the fundamental fuel for life itself. Without a constant supply of energy, life as we know it would simply stop. So, understanding how we get and use this energy is one of the coolest and most important things we can learn about the world around us and inside us. Think of a cell in your body as a bustling, microscopic factory. A factory needs power to run its machines, right? Well, your cells are no different. They need a special kind of power called chemical energy to do all their important jobs. This energy is used to build complex molecules, transport materials in and out, and communicate with other cells. It's like the electricity that keeps the factory lights on and the assembly lines moving. Every blink, every thought, every heartbeat is powered by these tiny cellular factories working together, all thanks to the constant flow of chemical energy. It's a non-stop 24/7 operation happening inside you right now. So where does this chemical energy come from? It's all about moving tiny particles called electrons. This brings us to two very important words: oxidation and reduction. It sounds complicated, but consider this. When a substance electrons, we say it is oxidized. Think of it like losing a tiny piece of a puzzle. When a substance those electrons, we say it is reduced. It's gaining that puzzle piece. These two processes always happen together in what's called a redox reaction. One molecule gives and another receives. This transfer of electrons is like passing a baton in a relay race. And every time the baton is passed, a little bit of energy is released for the cell to use. This brings us to the superstar molecule of energy, ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. If a cell is a factory, then ATP is its money. It's the energy currency that cells use to pay for all their activities. ATP is like a tiny, fully charged battery. It has a special structure with 3 phosphate groups linked together, and the bonds holding them are packed with energy. When a cell needs power, it breaks one of those bonds, releasing the stored energy and turning ATP into ADP, or adenosine diphosphate, which is like a used battery. This release of energy is what powers everything from muscle contractions to sending nerve signals. How do we get the energy to make all that ATP? It all starts with the sun. Plants, algae, and some bacteria have an amazing ability called photosynthesis. Simply put, photosynthesis is the process of turning light energy into chemical energy. Plants are like the planet's master chefs, taking simple ingredients from the environment, sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide, and cooking up a sugary food called glucose. This process is the foundation of nearly every food chain on Earth. It's how we get the oxygen we breathe and the food we eat, either by eating plants directly or by eating animals that ate plants. It's the ultimate solar-powered food factory. Let's look at the recipe. The chemical formula for photosynthesis is 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus light energy gives you C6H12O6 plus 6O2. That means plants take 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water, and with the help of sunlight, they produce 1 molecule of glucose, which is sugar, and 6 molecules of oxygen. The magic ingredient that captures the sunlight is a green pigment called chlorophyll. It's what gives plants their color. The glucose that's made can be used immediately for energy, or it can be stored as starch like in a potato or cellulose to build strong cell walls for later use. To be super efficient chefs, plants have leaves that are perfectly designed for photosynthesis. Their broad, flat shape maximizes the surface area exposed to sunlight. They have tiny pores called stomata that open and close to let carbon dioxide in and oxygen out. A network of veins, called xylem and phloem, transports water to the leaf and carries the sugary food away to other parts of the plant. A waxy outer layer, the cuticle, prevents the leaf from losing too much water. All these features work together to make the leaf an incredibly effective solar panel and food production center. But what happens if a leaf loses these amazing adaptations? Imagine a plant living in a very dry place. If its stomata stay open all the time, it will lose too much water and wilt. If its leaves are covered in dust, they can't absorb enough sunlight, and food production will slow down. If a disease damages the veins, the transport of water and nutrients will be blocked, essentially starving the leaf. Any disruption to these finely tuned features can seriously harm the plant's ability to make its own food, which can impact its growth, health, and survival. It just shows how perfectly nature has engineered these living systems. Once a plant makes glucose, or an animal eats that plant, how do they get the energy of the glucose? That's where cellular respiration comes in. Think of it as the opposite of photosynthesis. It's the process living things use to break down glucose and other food molecules to release the stored chemical energy and capture it in the form of ATP. While photosynthesis builds the sugar, respiration burns it for fuel. Every living cell, from a plant root to a human brain cell, performs cellular respiration. It's how we power our lives, moment by moment. There are two main types of respiration. The most efficient one is aerobic respiration, which means it uses oxygen. The overall equation is C6H12O6 plus 6O2 gives you 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus ATP. See how it's the reverse of photosynthesis. We breathe in oxygen, which our cells use to break down glucose. We then breathe out carbon dioxide and water as waste products, releasing a whole lot of ATP energy in the process. This process happens in special parts of the cell called mitochondria, which are often called the powerhouses of the cell for this very reason. But what if there's no oxygen available? Some organisms, and even our own muscle cells, can switch to anaerobic respiration. This process doesn't require oxygen, but it releases much less energy. In our muscles, during intense exercise, this leads to the production of lactic acid, which can cause that burning sensation. In yeast, this process is called fermentation, and it produces alcohol and carbon dioxide. This is the very process humans have used for centuries to make bread rise and to brew beer. While not as powerful as aerobic respiration, it's a vital backup system for getting energy in low oxygen situations. So, why do our cells need a constant supply of ATP from respiration? The list is almost endless. We need ATP for muscle contraction, allowing us to move, walk, and even smile. It powers active transport, which is when cells pump substances across their membranes against the natural flow. It fuels the synthesis of large molecules like proteins and DNA, which are essential for growth and repair. Even maintaining our body temperature requires ATP. Every single action, big or small, that keeps us alive and functioning is paid for with the energy currency of ATP, generated tirelessly through cellular respiration. When we put it all together, we see a beautiful and elegant cycle. Photosynthesis uses carbon dioxide and water to create glucose and oxygen. Cellular respiration then uses that glucose and oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water, releasing energy for life. It's a perfect loop. The products of one process are the ingredients for the other. This amazing partnership between plants and animals, between making food and using food, sustains almost all life on our planet. It's a grand-scale recycling program that has been running for billions of years, powered by the constant energy streaming from our sun. Understanding this flow of energy is fundamental to understanding biology. It explains why plants are green, why we need to breathe, and how the food we eat gives us the strength to get through the day. When you look at a tree, you're not just seeing a plant. You're seeing a sophisticated solar-powered factory that is producing the very air you breathe. When you feel your own heartbeat, you're feeling the result of trillions of microscopic powerhouses in your cells, working relentlessly to break down food and power your body. It connects the largest star in our solar system to the tiniest cells inside you. This journey into bioenergetics can seem complex, with its cycles, formulas, and funny-sounding molecules. But don't let that stop you. The key is to stay curious and keep asking questions. Science isn't about memorizing facts. It's about understanding the world. Think about the energy you're using right now to read these words. Where did it come from? How did it get to you? Following that trail of energy leads you on one of the most incredible adventures in science. The world is full of amazing processes just waiting to be explored. So keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring. The more you understand about the energy of life, the more you'll appreciate the incredible, intricate, and awe-inspiring world we live in. From the sunlight hitting a leaf to the ATP powering your brain, it's all connected. It's all driven by the flow of energy. And that, my friends, is what bioenergetics is all about. It's not just a topic in a textbook. It's the very essence of what it means to be alive. Science is cool,